Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. You can find us on the television, channel 182, Charter Communications Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also find us on the radio at icradio.media, where we are Fox News affiliates. And don't forget the podcast. You can find us on the podcast at thenewscasters.com. Newscaster Studio. By the way, go ahead and download the apps on everything we're on. It just makes life a whole lot easier. I have Alan Mendenhall with me right now. Alan is no stranger to the show, been with me for many, many years. And I love to talk with you about finances because you're the finance genius. Tell everybody what you do.
Well, I don't know that I'm a genius in anything, but I am Associate Dean of the Sorrell College of Business and Executive Director of the Manuel H. Johnson Center for Political Economy, which is a free market research and educational center in the Sorrell College of Business. We run something called the Free Enterprise Scholars Program for undergraduates. We hold educational programming. So we're holding a conference, for example, next month on the topic of ESG in Montgomery. And we produce research. My colleague Dan Sutter and I have been at work on a series of articles about ESG.
Well, before we get started, you've had some folks. The last show, you had a new baby, and the wife's doing
That's
great.
right.
He's doing good, and you talked about not getting any sleep. So is that doing any better?
It has gotten better. He actually slept through the night twice last week, but then over the weekend he got congested and was struggling to sleep through the night because of congestion. So you just never know with these things.
And mommy's doing good.
She's doing great. You know, what's funny is how much has changed since we last spoke. We spoke early July, and since then we had on July 13th the attempted assassination of President Trump. On July 21st, Biden announced that he withdrew, and Kamala Harris launched her campaign. Then, she became the nominee. It was like July 26th or something when the Obamas endorsed her. And then we had a Democratic convention. I spent 10 days at the Claremont Institute in California. I mean, it's been quite a busy time. You are selling a house. It's been crazy.
It's been just crazy. We had someone send, and you get a lot of emails, by the way. Congratulating you on doing good, the baby, and those good kinds of things.
Neat. Thank you.
We had one, this lady, and she's not going to use her name, it's Abigail. So okay. Abigail wanted to know what your thoughts were about the economy. She said, in the world I'm living in right now, she didn't say what part of the country she's living in, but anyway, what part of the world she's living in, the economy is not doing so great at all. But on Facebook, you constantly see some folks who think we're in a good economy. Where are they living?
Yeah, I mean, clearly we are still dealing with inflation. Prices are very high, and it's a struggle for many people, and in particular, young people who want to buy housing and who are delaying marriage and who are delaying having children and making very big life decisions based upon actually how bad the economy is.
And I mean, that's it in a nutshell. So,
yeah.
And another question arose too, and I kind of had this question last time you were on the show, and this is about looking at the real estate market right now. And I'm seeing a lot of people, I know the interest rates are high, but what about young folks? Are they going to be able to own a house?
It's increasingly difficult. I mean, a lot of them come out with student loan burdens because of the high costs of college. And so they're having to pay those off. They delay that. You've got a lot of private equity buying up housing in and around big cities and keeping prices at an artificially high rate. So that's problematic. I mean, the people that think that the economy is doing well are probably, they're probably referring to maybe stock markets. I mean, I think the stock market has been up roughly 14% a year since the pandemic. And so that's a good thing, but not everybody has a means to buy stock. I think GDP has been up a small percentage every year since about 2022. But those don't reflect the everyday realities of most consumers. Unemployment rate is up. I think a lot of it has to do with the government and media narrative. Clearly, as we can see from Kamala's announcement of her presidency, that her campaign for presidency, and since the Democratic Party consolidated around her, the media has made it a mission to prop her up and to talk about the economy as if it were great. And it's very disturbing to see almost the semiotics of Kamala Harris, how she went from from being less popular than Biden in the polls, one of the least popular politicians alive, to suddenly this rip roaring popularity. And it's difficult to say how real those figures are, or those perceptions are. Clearly, that's the narrative and the perception that the media class is seeking to portray. But a friend of mine posted this funny headline from March, and it was the Washington Post, and it said something like, "For the good of the country, Kamala Harris needs to step aside." And that was a very serious headline at the time. They thought she was a drag on the Biden ticket, and that she was going to hold the ticket back. And here we are in late August, and people are acting as if she is the most amazing thing that's ever happened. I mean, it's really bizarre.
It's extremely bizarre, and it just tells you what the media can do. Okay, because they were like hating her. I mean, literally hate, distaste. She's not going to be good for us. That kind of a. And then it's all of a sudden. Okay, first of all, and I know you're the same way. I have never liked to be sold anything. I just, I don't want to be sold anything. And she's being sold to the public. I mean,
Yeah.
I know what sales is. I know what promoting a product is. She's a product being promoted.
100%. She has not done a press conference as of this sitting since she announced that she was running. That type of avoidance is going to be problematic. I think in the next month or so, you can only do that for so long. She's gotten the bump from the Democratic convention, and she's gotten a little push in the polls, but I don't know how much that will be sustained. I mean, and if you look at the national polling average, that's what so many media outlets are highlighting. Oh, she's up, 3% in the national polls, but you got to look at the swing states. I mean, she did take a little jump in Michigan. She's about a couple points up in Michigan as of this sitting. She's up in Wisconsin, no surprise there, but she's still neck and neck in Pennsylvania. Trump still has a pretty commanding edge in Georgia. You'll see some media people talking as if it's a very, very tight race in Georgia, but I think Trump's up like 4% there, which is not insignificant. I do think it's kind of tight in Arizona, but I think Trump will probably pull that off now that Kamala has had her big bump. There's been the sugar high, there's been the rush of a new candidacy. In politics, a month is a long, long time, and we still have until November to go. And she's going to have to start doing press conferences. She's going to have to stop acting as if Donald Trump is the incumbent. She talks about the economy on the one hand as if, oh, it's doing well, and because of Bidenomics and our administration. But then she'll go on the other hand and talk about how the economy is doing badly because of Donald Trump. And it's like, which is it? She wants to act as if Donald Trump's the incumbent. And the irony of that is that she's trying to attribute the failures of her administration to the previous administration. She's been in office now for three something years. And if things aren't right, she'll talk about, and on day one of my administration, I will do blah, blah, blah. Well, wait, your administration is now. It's going on. Like, what you're actually in now. Why aren't you doing it?
I would be Superwoman, and I'd start it now. I would say, look, this is just a start of what I can do. And then I would just start implementing those things right now while I'm in there, But I want to bring this up to you. So we mentioned the sugar high. You mentioned the sugar high just a minute ago. Phil used to play football. And there's one thing the coach would not let them do, and that was eat something chocolate or eat peanut butter, because you would get this extreme high, then you would crash.
Yep.
Okay, he calls her peanut butter. But anyway,
yeah,
she's going to crash. And she's going to do it right before our very eyes. But now, not 2 weeks before she was talking about how wonderful Biden was. Joe is doing such a great job, and he has his full facilities. He's okay, good Joe. And then now she's this. Well, now it's like we saw this coming. No,
Yeah.
again, you can't have it both ways. You either
Well,
did or you didn't.
I think we'll learn a lot during the debates. I mean, in one debate, Trump basically eliminated Joe Biden's entire political career. and
And he'll
I've,
do
I,
it again with her.
well, I was reading this morning where she has requested a change in the rules so that there would be a hot mic and that they wouldn't silence Trump. And I guarantee you it's because if you remember her debate against Mike Pence, she continually said, "Excuse me, I'm speaking. Excuse me, I'm speaking." Even when she wasn't being interrupted, because she wanted to present this as, oh, this is a man picking on a woman, or this is a man trying to mansplain, or this is a man trying to bully. And she's going to try to go with that narrative. And I do think she's doing well with the female vote, but I do not think
Not this female.
no, not I know for not you, not people like not the rough and tumble females who know how to go out and make a living and do well for themselves. They're not the ones that are jumping on the Kamala bandwagon. But I think
I got to ask you another question.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just said her. I thought we were not supposed to know the difference between men and women. So why are we parading her around as being the first woman president? I thought we weren't supposed to talk about those things.
Yeah, gender's a fluid construct.
Gender neutral.
And yeah, and sort of, yeah, I get what you're saying. And it would be interesting. You see all these men participating in women's sports. What if Joe Biden said, you know what, I'm a I'm a female. I'm running to be the first female president.
I identify as a woman. I was the first female president.
I was the first female president. That would be funny. I mean,
Right.
imagine Bill Clinton coming out and saying that. That would be that would be memorable.
Okay, let's talk debate between cackling Kamala. I'm sorry, I can't. Okay, so what's it going to be like? Is she going to be laughing at everything he says, and then what's he going to say? I think he doesn't need the whole ball. I think he just needs to go for it.
I don't know what he'll do in the debates. In the last debate, he was very poised, and he sort of just let Biden collapse. I mean, Biden sort of imploded. He did it to himself. Trump didn't really have to do anything, but Biden clearly came prepared to be interrupted or to be bothered, but there was no hot mic. So I think if he heard Trump saying stuff and it wasn't getting picked up on the mic, he was responding to Trump rather than just answering the question, and it just made him look disoriented. I don't know if that's going to be a strategy for Trump going into the next debate, or I don't know how you handle that dynamic. Kamala has to run on a record, and her record is not good. And she was not popular in the Democratic primary, and
she was the first one out.
She was out so early and got very little support. So it's really anti-democratic, ironically, for the Democratic Party to coalesce around her and essentially institute a coup d'etat and get rid of the president of the United States. And what's also interesting is, where is Biden anyway? I mean, he's kind of disappeared now. Who's running our country right now? Like, I look at people like Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping, and I see them on the world stage, and I think, is Kamala Harris really going to go meet with leaders like that and hold her own? Is she going to be a threat or intimidating to them? Are they going to just eat her alive? I think they'll eat her alive. Whereas Trump is so unpredictable. I mean, if Trump's got his hand on the nuke, you really don't know what the heck's going to do. He might push the button. You never know. I mean, it's that unpredictability that makes him frightening to foreign leaders.
Uh-huh. Well, you should remember what it was like his first day in. I mean, the first day, I can't see her making this work. There has to be a puppet master somewhere, Because
Oh,
we know Joe Biden has not been running the
oh,
country.
there are minions and minions and minions, and the administrative state is so vast at this point that you have bureaucracies left over from at least the Clinton administration who are just entrenched, and they are typically left leaning. People that want these federal bureaucracy positions are typically left-leaning people, and they're comfortable jobs, and they get in there and they stay there for life. And there's no doubt, I've heard from many people who worked in the Trump administration that they felt their staff was working against them, or they would issue a directive
Mhm.
and it would just
Right.
languish in the process, and they were able to process it out of action. And when the people at top, the managers were looking for somebody to blame, they had no one to blame because, oh, it was just the process. And there was no person that they could identify as being
Mhm.
the decision maker who eliminated this directive somewhere along the way. It was just, oh, it was processed out. We all met and there was a consensus. And then this committee met. And then next thing you know, whatever the directive was, it was lost in the process. And it was a sort of the administrative state trying to prevent any action of the Trump administration from having any effect whatsoever.
Well, you know something, some big corporations, and I was involved with GTE, so I know how these things work. And GTE was bought out, started out as Contel Cellular, and then they turned into Cellular One, bought out by another company. Then they were GTE and then Verizon. So 4 different buyouts, I was involved with them. What they would do, a new person would come in, the buyout, a lot of times they'll go in and just like fire everybody. For some
Mm.
reason, they kept me. I don't know why, but anyway, for them, they'll just like get rid of every single soul and start over again. That's what Trump needs to do this time.
Yeah, it's difficult to clean house in the federal bureaucracy because of the way the employment law rules are. People enjoy long careers. It's hard to fire people up there.
Mhm. Yeah, but why couldn't you?
Well, I mean, it would you could go in and out of each agency, and you'd need Congress's help in order to eliminate agencies. I mean, if you look at Project 2025, which for some reason Trump keeps disavowing, but it calls for the elimination of the Department of Education. Sign me up. Get rid of that thing. We
Right.
don't need that. And it's done way more harm than good for the children of this country.
Oh, yeah.
And it is having an adverse effect on education rather than a positive effect. And one thing you don't hear very much spoken about right now in the campaign is the FAFSA. I mean, the Department of Education has completely botched the FAFSA, and enrollment is way down at universities. This is the beginning of the school year, and enrollment's way down almost across the board. And that has to do largely with the botched FAFSA effort of the Department of Education. And nobody's talking about this. Trump should really be hammering this. And it's something that, colleges and universities are pretty left wing, and especially compared to the general population. So it's not as if Trump's going to go pick up a bunch of college professors who are pretty set in their ways anyway.
Mhm.
However, there are families who missed out on the opportunity to have their child go to college this year. A lot of people that were going to be first generation college students that couldn't afford to go because the FAFSA rollout was botched. And those are voters those are voters in swing states. Those are voters in Georgia and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Nevada and Michigan and North Carolina and places like that. So I think that's an issue that needs to be brought up by the Trump campaign.
But do you think it's finances, or maybe, a lot of us parents and grandparents saw a lot of things that were happening at the college,
Oh, no
especially the
doubt.
liberals? I mean,
No
that
doubt.
would be my
Oh,
reason. My
well,
reason would be, you're not
there are
going.
plenty of reasons for people to avoid college that are, but besides the finance, it's just that the FAFSA rollout happens to be, the financial aid. So people aren't able to get the financial aid who wanted to go. And now they can't get the financial aid because of the botched FAFSA rollout. But there are plenty of people that are opting not to go for very good reason. Return on investment is not panning out the way people
Mhm.
expected. In many business schools, you could say there's not anything you could learn in a business school that you couldn't learn better out there on the job market, getting a job. Can you really learn more about accounting in a textbook hearing a lecture than you could going out and working for an accountant who's actually going through files and showing you how these things get done? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one in the accounting example, but I know with many industries, I think you would learn way more by being out there on the job rather than behind a desk. In particular, in some of the the areas that are doing pretty well, like technology, healthcare, finance. Those are industries that haven't really taken too much of a hit during the bad economy. And they're also, with the exception of people that are medical doctors, the business side of it, those are all businesses that can be learned on the job, probably better than they could be learned in university, because there's not really too many university programs that teach you how to navigate those fields, especially in the tech industry where so much is brand new, that higher ed is way, way, way behind. And higher ed is trying to learn from the tech industry, not teach the next generation of techies.
Well, also, I think working as an apprentice somewhere and the trades jobs, my goodness, a lot of women are getting into the trades jobs because most of those are automated now, computer fed. I mean, you can have maybe robotics and have a robot to do the dangerous stuff on the job. So,
Yeah.
and then somebody has to program it. Somebody has to tell it what to do.
Think about how long law involved an apprenticeship. I mean, if Abraham Lincoln had to do what you had to do to become a lawyer today, he never would have been a lawyer. He never would have, gone to college and then gotten a law degree and then sat for a bar exam. Heck no, he didn't do that stuff. He had to apprentice. And then what was common at that time would be, rather than taking a bar exam, you would go and have an interview with the judge. And the judge said, you know what, you are ready. You can hang up your shingle.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's totally different than the way it is now. But then so much is programmed into our brains going to college these days.
Oh yeah. Well, and what's so interesting and also ironic, you hear about college being a vehicle toward equal opportunity, or a way for marginalized communities and ethnic minorities to gain a footing and to become more economically empowered. But most of these barriers to entry, for example, in law school, the institution of the bar exam, the creation of state bar associations, the requirement that you go to law school, the requirement that as a lawyer you cannot advertise your services, these were all designed to prevent those communities I just mentioned from breaking in. They were actually very racist when they were created. The point was they didn't want young African-American upstarts coming and upsetting their apple cart. And so they instituted rules and regulations to keep them out. Now the claim is that these rules and regulations are to the benefit of those communities, when it clearly has not historically been the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find it interesting. I remember back in the day when an attorney did not have billboards on every square mile of the interstate. I remember the first attorney I saw on television with the commercial. I was like, that's an attorney. I'm telling you. I think it's probably in the 80s or maybe the 70s.
But that used to be strictly prohibited.
Yeah. I mean, you just couldn't do that. So many things. It seems like our world is just upside down now, and not necessarily for the best. But I will have to mention this. This is about AI.
Okay.
And I remember you and I have talked several times about that. It used to scare me to death. But I'm just telling you, if the best we can do with AI right now is the crowd that Kamala is having at her events, I'm not affected. Because you see people with two heads, you see like the same person, like, just with a wig on or a hat. And I'm like, is that the best AI can be? I'm not worried anymore.
Yeah, I'm not very stressed about AI. I think, of course, everything has the potential to go wrong, but I don't see any sort of mass scale problems developing out of AI. I think AI is a useful tool. And as with all new technologies, we're getting used to it. I mean, we had to get used to the internet. We had to get used to email. And now we're just getting used to the newest form of technology. But just as these little phones, they've got so much bad that you can do with them, so much bad on there, but they've got so much good. You've got basically every book you've ever wanted, every book ever written, I could get on this phone almost instantaneously. It's amazing. I can't imagine what some medieval scribe would have thought of this type of access to information. It's incredible. And was there a lot of anxiety about cell phones? There still is, but was there about the internet? And yeah, of course there was. But we tend to adjust. There was a lot of anxiety when the printing press came out. After Gutenberg and the printing press, people took a while to adjust to that. I mean, there was a lot of radicalism when we had religious wars and a lot of fighting and burning of books and burning of people. And we eventually got used to that. Now we think books are great. No one really complains about books as a category of things. We don't say, oh, books are bad. We might assign that designation to a particular book. We might say, oh, that was a bad book, or that's a pornographic book, or that's a book that's evil or whatever. But we're not going to say that books as a generic category are bad. And I don't think we'll say that with AI. Eventually, I think we'll be very pleased with the assistance that AI affords us. I mean, we are fallible creatures with limited knowledge and low capabilities. And, we could use the assistance of artificial intelligence. I know I used AI to help me do my taxes, and it was great.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
I'm excited to announce my all-new mattress topper. In the times we're in, I wanted to bring you the best affordable mattress topper ever. So I took my two best technologies and combined them to make the ultimate mattress topper. And now you can get it for as low as $69.98. Queen size only $99.98. It all starts with my famous MyPillow foam that provides you that overall full body support. Second is the individual comfort supports that give you an amazing custom sleep experience. It's like it's made specifically for you. The queen size alone has over 14,000 comfort supports. This is the perfect mattress topper to improve any bed. New bed, old bed, your guest beds. Get them for every bedroom in your house. Go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get the all-new My Mattress Topper for as low as $69.98. Queen size only $99.98. Don't delay. Order today.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are back. Had to go into a quick commercial break. Not sure what happened there, Alan, but anyway, here we are. And we're back. We're talking about AI, and all of a sudden the computer does crazy stuff. So what is this? I said I wasn't afraid. Now I'm kind of getting afraid again. But Alan is back with us. We're back from the commercial break. Just have a few minutes left. I know you've got somewhere you've got to go. You just give me the signal when we have to leave. So we're talking about all the different things that are happening right now in this earth. We've talked about the assassination attempt with President Trump, which a lot of folks are saying that was fake, that he made that up.
Oh yeah, I mean that's absurd. I mean that's outrageous at this point. We have 5 Secret Service officers put on administrative leave. He literally was shot and bleeding from the ear. I mean, I can't even deal with that kind of a claim. It's just so absurd that I don't even want to give it the time of day.
Okay. Let's just say that you and I, we're going to do a hoax on everybody, and I'm going to tell you, Alan. All I want you to do is nick my ear, okay? You got okay. Try not to be off. I love you as a person, Alan, but I would not trust you with that. I mean, come on.
No. No, you shouldn't. Let me tell you, I am not a good shot. So when I went,
and you're not going to nick my ear.
Well, the last time I went hunting, it was dove hunting, and there was a dove on the ground. And I took aim, and I didn't tell the guys, I was with anything before I shot. I just took aim, shot, boom, an explosion of feathers up in a tree branch. Whoosh, and everyone's like, wow, nice shot. I didn't tell them I was aiming for the one on the ground. And then I shot some bird I didn't even know was up in the tree.
Yeah, you would not be doing that hoax with me.
No. You don't want to put an apple on your head and have me shoot that. Definitely not.
Let's talk about VP choices, and let's go ahead and start with the Democrat side. What do you think of the VP choice there?
I think he's a bad choice. I think he doesn't add much to the ticket. I think he govern is kind of a left wing guy. I mean, Tim Walz has kind of a spotty record. He has a history of lying, and the Democrats tried to make lying a big feature of their presentation of Donald Trump. And so it's sort of strange that they would pick a guy that has a pretty strong track record of lying. It's hard to say, because I also feel like JD Vance doesn't add much to the ticket in terms of broadening appeal. He seems to be a lot like Trump, and appealing to the same sort of blue collar working class base in those swing states, which I think is great that they're looking at those swing states, Michigan, Ohio, etc. But I don't think either one of these guys really helps the ticket. I was really disturbed by Tim Walz yanking of his disabled son as he came out on the stage. I don't know if you saw that. It's all over Twitter where he gets an angry face and he yanks his son, like, come this way. And it almost makes you think, is that the real Tim Walz? Is that the one that when the mask comes off, that's who he is?
Yeah, you have to wonder about that. And then another thing about Kamala is she had such an overturn in employees and people on her staff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know, and we want these two people running the country. I mean,
yeah, I'm not really, I don't really know what to say. I mean, I think that we're in a very bad moment, historically. And, I'm not very hopeful about the future of our country right now. And it's tough because I'm 41 years old. I've got young children and I want to raise them in a safe, prosperous nation. And I increasingly feel as if they are going to be targets of cancellation, of violence, because my son's conservative. Now his ethnic background is diverse, but his mom was Brazilian, and but his skin looks white, and I worry that he's going to be a target and when he goes to university or when he tries to get a job. In being looking like him and coming from Alabama, you're the one person that it's okay to hate, and I just worry that he's going to be the target of hatred for his whole life.
Well, I feel like the only choice we have is Trump being president. I mean, that's the only choice we have.
Yeah.
But there will be so much resistance. I mean, I'm pretty sure if he wins, I mean, the battleground will already be out there.
Well,
how is he going to be able to govern?
Compare. January 6th was not something to celebrate, but compare what happened there to the looting and rioting that happened across cities, in the wake of Ferguson or Floyd or whatever. And to me, if Kamala Harris wins the presidency, you will not see conservatives looting stores, burning down shops. That's just not going to happen. And I am concerned if Trump wins, what will happen? Will there be that type of thing going on? The wonderful thing about Trump is he's beginning to make a lot of inroads in ethnic minority communities. I think there are a lot of black men that look at women playing in men's sports and look at the transgender movement and they think, what the hell's that? Like, this is ridiculous, man. I don't want anything to do with that. Like, that's not my thing. And they're starting to see through some of that facade, and they're moving to Trump increasingly. And they realize that the Democratic Party has failed them. If you look at any Democratic-controlled city, whether it's Chicago or Montgomery, Alabama, you're going to see a lot of failure because their policies do not work. They do not work. They're going to elevate crime. They're going to impoverish people. They're going to run away business. And it's the same thing, same story all the time. And it's also rampant corruption. The Democratic Party is so incredibly corrupt. The fact that Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden and Hunter Biden are not in prison is astounding. If they were Republicans, they'd be locked up. Steve Bannon is in prison for what? I mean, for not even close to the offenses of those three I just mentioned. We live in a two-tier justice system, and it's frightening. It's frightening because the left has weaponized the federal government against ordinary people. We've got debanking beginning to happen, where banks are refusing to do business with conservatives, and I'm frightened for our country. Now, there are things that are encouraging to me. There's a new stock exchange that's been created in Texas, and it's going to be exciting. There's state treasurers working together on issues like ESG and pushing back in a way that we've never seen before. We've seen Republicans Attorney General unite over the past decade, maybe a little bit longer, but now we're seeing that sort of coordination among other sort of constitutional officers and executive branch officials at the state level. And, there's definitely a red state, blue state realignment happening. The great thing is the red states are kicking butt on economics by comparison to the blue states are dying. And I mean, eventually you just let the blue states kill themselves off. I mean, we're talking long term. This isn't something that's going to happen next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, but 50 years, 60 years, the red states will be the ones that are thriving, booming, and the blue states will be left behind.
Yeah, who's going to want to live there? You're talking
one's
about,
gonna.
okay, let's just use North Carolina and South Carolina. We lived in North Carolina for a really long time, several years. But I'm just going to tell you, a lot of people are moving out of North Carolina, going into South Carolina because of the taxes.
Yep.
Home taxes are ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy. And they just keep rising more and more and more. Although, they're trying to get some more conservative folks in.
Yeah.
But once you draw that line, it's hard to go back.
It's true. And the other great thing is that now we have a lot more latitude with remote work. So people can go, like you, live on a farm and work from there. I have plenty of friends that work remotely. I was just watching HGTV on Saturday while I was feeding the baby a bottle. I don't typically watch a whole lot of TV like that, but for a bottle feed, it was appropriate. And there was a couple on there, and they went down to, I don't even remember which Caribbean island they were on, but they were down in some Caribbean island, and they just bought a cheap condo because they worked remotely. And they said, well, if we work remotely, we can may as well do it down here at some Caribbean island. And they did. They were waking up, having their coffee in the morning, and then getting on their computers and doing everything on the laptop. And then 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock rolled around, and they just snapped their laptop shut and went out to a nice restaurant. And it was so cheap. The cost of living was so cheap down there that they could go out and have a nice dinner with some wine and still go to bed reasonably early. And they were living a great life.
And that's what I'm seeing a lot of people do. Like for us, for instance, you just mentioned that. I mean, we can go on a vacation, and all I have to do is bring my laptop, and I can have the weather report and the traffic report and sports history and all those things done wherever I am. It doesn't really matter.
That's right. That's right. And, I get a lot of my work done on the road. I travel a ton, and I have to work from hotel rooms and airports and airplanes. And frankly, I get a lot more done on an airplane and in an airport than I do when I'm in the office because of all the interruptions in the office, all the meetings and all the door knocks and, all the interruptions. But when I'm in an airport, I'm at it, and I don't have any distractions. On an airplane, there's nowhere to go. There's nothing else to do unless I watch a movie.
Mm-hmm. But you're right. I mean, I was kicking and screaming for this. Now, I was renting space from a radio station. And so what was interesting is I have asthma. And so that's when COVID hit. And so the owner of the station said, I'd really rather, she said, you can go to a spare bedroom, Donna, put up a green screen and be done with it. You're freaking me out. And she's afraid I was going to catch COVID and die. And so I said, I don't know that I'm disciplined enough to do, because I'm used to, I've been like 50 years of going somewhere and working. This is going to be tough on me to do this. And so I did. And now I'm loving it. I'm finding I can get so much. I'm working more hours, really. I'm not. I'm getting much more done condensed in a smaller amount of hours.
Interesting.
And I can do it when I need to.
I am not surprised at all. And in fact, I think that's the future. I mean, what does concern me is what is going to happen to all these big, massive buildings in places if they're not necessary anymore. What are we going to do with them? Turn them into residential?
Could live there. The needy could live there. There's plenty of housing.
Yeah, there you
turn
go.
it into something else.
Yeah, turn it into something else. Well, that's what you'd have to do. The other thing though is that bothers me is you look at all the ancient ruins and you think, eventually things come down. These things can't stay up forever. Like, how long does it take for these to have real serious structural problems?
There is a television show Phil and I love to watch, and it's called Rick Steves.
Okay.
And so what he does is he travels, and he's always showing the ancient ruins, and you can see what the marble floors and what it used to be had to have been so elaborate. And you
Yeah.
just brought that up. They're ruins now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is
That's
that
right.
what we're going to turn into?
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't know. It's fun to speculate. My son and I have these conversations about, oh, is the future going to be like Star Wars, but we don't know. We really just don't know.
It's a crazy world that we're living in. Absolutely. This is another burning question, and a lot of my viewers are asking this question. By the way, send any of your questions to Donna at donnasedge.com. I'll answer every one of that I can. And if I can't answer it, we have awesome guests who can answer those. And one of those has been, are we even going to have an election? Is something going to happen before the election so Trump can't get in, even if he
Oh,
wins?
I don't think we'll have anything cataclysmic. I do think there will be voter fraud. I think there's voter fraud in every single election, whether it's of a scope and scale that actually throws the election in another direction that it shouldn't be in, or it delegitimizes the election entirely. I don't know. I don't have that kind of knowledge. I'm very Hayekian in my thinking, Donna. I think that knowledge in society is really decentralized, and that no one person or group of people can possess all the information necessary to make informed decisions. And that's Hayek's case for pricing. He says that prices in a market economy serve as a mechanism for communicating dispersed knowledge that no person has. And so I actually, when it comes to things, I enjoy speculating, but I can't really posit anything with any assurance when it comes to whether there's going to be something, um, very momentous or historical before the election. I just don't know. I have no idea, but it will be interesting to watch. No matter what, politics is fun to watch, even when it makes you mad and upset. It's entertaining, and unfortunately, it's almost becoming more entertainment that like a football game. And I think
Yeah,
that is
so
not
into
good.
that, like
I think
reality television or
like
something.
reality television, it's starting to lose some of its intellectual component. The French, as bad as their politics is, they do have some really interesting politicians, some intellectual politicians. I was with Eric Zemmour earlier this month, and just was fascinated hearing about his run um, a few years ago in France, and about his political party and what it stands for. It was a fascinating conversation.
Yeah, I mean, so many interesting things. But I want to tell you something. I've done a lot of research, and let's talk about back in the 1800s where everybody had a trade. Okay, you had your person who was the baker, I mean, and they did a lot
Mhm.
of trading out with each other,
Mhm.
bartering and those kinds of things that were happening. But the people who made it during the Great Depression were not the people who were sitting around speculating what could happen. They were just
Right.
going along with their life. There was
Yeah.
like now they were aware of what could happen from what I understand from what I'm reading and I've been investigating this for a really long time.
Yeah.
How do some people make it when you have a Great Depression and turn into millionaires when most people were starving to death? I think there were people that were aware of what could happen around the curve, but they didn't dwell on it.
Well, and there's that, and you can ask other questions like, is it possible for a lazy person to become a millionaire? Probably not, unless they were already one or born into it, but probably not. That's not the way you get wealthy. Individuals acting on their local knowledge, they respond to price signals. Sort of an organic order emerges regarding the efficient use of scarce resources and knowledge. And some people who do work hard are fortunate. They hit the right thing at the right time, and then maybe some others are a little less fortunate. They do well, but they weren't the person that created this or that did that. There are all these different stories of entrepreneurs who are on the verge of creating some product and then they sold it to somebody else. Or what was it? Xerox made the first computer and didn't know what they had, things like that. But we got the computer, and many, many people got wealthy off of that invention. But one thing that is for sure is you're not going to get wealthy from being lazy. And I think we have taught too many young people over the course of the last few decades that they feel entitled. They feel as if they are owed jobs, and that people should be lucky to hire them when they have no experience whatsoever and really can add no value without gaining that experience. And so, it's a problem when it becomes cultural and it becomes systemic. And I think that's where we're at with a lot of young people, unfortunately. But I am also, on the other hand, very encouraged. I spend a lot of time with conservative organizations, conservative groups. I interact with students from places like Hillsdale College, and I'm blown away by the fortitude and the knowledge and the energy and enthusiasm of these young people. So, there's always hope.
There always is. And I would like to say this about both my grandfathers, amazing men who made it happen during the Great Depression. And so my granddad, the farm we actually bought, this farm. And so my granddad bought it back during the Depression. And his goal was, he was a goal setter. Only had a 6th grade education, by the way. But he set a goal to have the farm paid off because he did not want to be in debt, but he wanted to pay it off in 2 years. And he did it. Wow. And that was just something to be proud of, because most people were worried about, where's my next meal coming from? And you can do it. I really believe no matter what comes at you, you can be a success.
Yes, I 100% agree. 100% agree.
You just can't dwell on all the things. And you have to think about social media. I mean, what's social media about? It's nothing but a rumor mill.
Yep.
Most everything on it is just not the right thing.
Well, Donna, I hate to break this news. Speaking of news, but my news alert is that I have to run and meet somebody for lunch.
That's okay. And we'll get back. Maybe 5 catastrophes won't happen the next time you come on the show.
Sounds good.
We're just going to absolutely see about that. Alan, thank you so much for being on the show. We'll see you later.
Thank you, Donna. Take care.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we're going to be calling it a day in just a few minutes. But what I wanted to do is go over just a few things with you. And this is, let me go ahead and fix there we go. Right, there we go. Okay. And so we've got just a few minutes left in this segment. But what I wanted to do is talk with you about voting, because a lot of you have said, I don't know if I want to vote or not. Well, you need to. You need to go ahead and vote. And, whoever your candidate is. But the only thing I want to ask you to do is just do a lot of research. Make sure you do that. Make sure you got all your ducks in a row, so to speak, and those kinds of things. But go out and do some research. But go to an event. And ask questions. It's all about that. And don't be afraid you're the only one with the question. I promise you, the question you come up with, other people are back there and they're just shy. They're not asking the same question you're thinking about doing. So go ahead and do it in a civil way. Don't be mad, and they can just ask a simple question. A lot of what's going on in local politics here are illegals who are moving in, and they're moving in. A couple of towns up front are actually going south of me, and then they're also moving into my area as well. And so how do you deal with it? How do you deal with a situation like that? Well, you just have to ask questions. Go to your city council meetings, talk with the city council members. Sometimes they have more input than the mayor does, but talk with the mayor as well. So anything that you're thinking about, anything that you're involved with, go on ahead and ask questions. And I promise you, other people are going to have the same questions you do. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Donna, and I am your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. And you can find us on the radio, where we are Fox News affiliates, and that's icradio.media. Thank you again so much for watching. Send your emails to donna@donnasedge.com. And I can't wait to see you next time. I hope you have a wonderful, super wonderful rest of the day. You take care. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you.
You ask and we listen. We're finally bringing the most requested offer ever. Get the queen size premium MyPillow, now only $19.98. MyPillow is made with patented adjustable fill. It adjusts to your exact individual needs regardless of your sleep position. It helps keep your neck aligned and holds its shape all night long so you get the best sleep of your life. But that's not all. Get our 6-piece kitchen or bath towel sets only $25. Our brand new mattress topper as low as $69.98. Get our famous MyPillow bed sheets for as low as $25 and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get huge discounts on all MyPillow products, including the premium queen-size MyPillow, only $19.98. That's the lowest price ever. Don't delay, order today. From all of us here at MyPillow, thanks America!
At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant.